All right, we're going to go to Patrick, Matt, John, and others. Patrick had to take shelter, he says, from the tornado. They're in Oklahoma that's killed so many people and left a 2-mile wide swath of destruction. Need to pray for those folks there. But also get prepared and get real shelters in place if you live in Tornado Alley. Patrick, what's your take on all this? What did you see? And what do you think of the Democrats making jokes about this?
I think it's shameless, Alex. I just want to thank you for your show. I saw somebody driving with an Infowars.com sticker on my way to work, but it took me over 2 hours to get to work today because of the devastation, and I took an alternate route and drove through an area that wasn't hit as bad, and it was still smashed cars and boards and everything everywhere. But we were at a doctor's appointment about 3 miles south of Ground Zero near the theater that got hit, and we had to take shelter. My wife's pregnant, and we were at a doctor's appointment, and it was pretty scary. The lights went out, but thankfully, it missed where we were, but we have people we know that were affected. A lady my wife works with lost her little girl in that school.
As bad as Texas is with tornadoes, I always hear about Oklahoma. Isn't Oklahoma right up there at the top statistically as the most dangerous tornado alley?
I couldn't tell you accurately for sure, but I would, if I had to guess, I would say for sure, because we're right in the middle of it. Like we said, Texas gets its share and on up into Missouri, but it seems like Oklahoma bears the brunt of it. I remember the May 3rd, 99 tornadoes. I had to take shelter then too. But fortunately, I've seen them living here, but I've never actually been hit by one, but we sure came close yesterday. The guy that does our lawn almost had his arm severed off. He lives in Moore. Another friend of mine, his wife teaches at that school, and she had to take shelter, and both of her kids go there, and she got knocked out, and one of the kids got a laceration, but they made it through. But
so it sounds like the number of wounded is going to be a lot higher than what they're currently saying.
Yeah, I saw a news report today, a local news report that said 24, like what you're saying, but we had people that were found a lot longer. After May 3rd, there were people that were found, months later, so there's no telling.
Absolutely, and again, Tornado Alley reportedly comes from Minnesota down right to Austin, Texas, but they also have tornadoes from Illinois out to New York's had them, and they've had them as far west as Colorado. But this has always been part of it. The Native Americans had names for it. But school kids actually believe this is because they're exhaling carbon dioxide is why this is happening.
Well, it's not as bad here, what they teach, but it's still, they teach some of it. I just, the word, like you said, the word conservationist came from the word conservative. We are good and decent people, and we respect our land, but we don't buy into the, the religion of, the globalist,
Well, how could Sheldon Whitehouse get up there and say, you Republicans in the Midwest, it's not just you getting killed, it's us too. It's over the top to blame gun owners for Sandy Hook when we have nothing to do with it. And it's over the top to blame people that know global warming being man-made is a fraud. And it's an admitted fraud. And then they blame us for dead people? When there's always been tornadoes? What is his problem? We should get mad at him, not just laugh at him. This guy is a punk, and he knows what he's doing. Well, I'm glad you made it through, and I hope your buddy's arm gets better. And you say it got cut pretty bad?
Yeah, I haven't seen the guy that does our lawn that I heard from my wife. But, just your prayers are appreciated. We're thankful.
You bet, brother. We're thankful to you, too. We're thankful. We'll pray for you. We'll be right back.
While we fight to retain our liberty, while we fight to expose globalism, we have to realize we're talking about a very powerful combination of power.
Renowned author and expert Joel Skousen breaks down the globalist plan to shut down America and stage a new world war.
In one day, America will go from day to night. And if you haven't prepared in advance, there's not enough time to prepare in 24 hours, even if you saw it that early.
Coming to the InfoWar in November is our new documentary film presentation.
Strategic relocation is a systematic way to think strategically in the future about how do I safeguard.
Joel Skousen, Strategic Relocation.
The freeways are going to be crowded, they're going to run out of gasoline, they're going to run out of food, and then they're going to start to go north and south of those freeways.
Joel Skousen is renowned as one of the world's foremost experts in strategic relocation and the securing of your home.
We talk about natural disasters, the health environment, we talk about pollution, the water quality. My personal experience about being in every one of these states.
Government is digging in for the organized, incremental collapse of society and world war.
The U.S. isn't building huge underground bases and bunkers because of some terrorist threat. They know that a massive nuclear attack is coming. They want that attack to come. Most people won't even be ready and won't be able to get out of town when any of these nuclear weapons fall, because there'll be absolute panic.
There is no preparedness without strategy.
What I tell people is that you do have time. Prepare wisely in advance.
This Christmas, give the gift of preparedness. Strategic Relocation, the film, with Joel Skousen and Alex Jones. We have a lot of listeners in Oklahoma, and I've over the years had quite a few affiliates up in that area. We got Cody, lives in Oklahoma, lives in Moore, one of the suburbs that was hit by this. Neighborhood destroyed. We're going to talk to him. Matt in Tennessee, mother is school teacher, survived in Oklahoma. John is in Oklahoma. We're going to get to all of you. Cody, and then we'll go to Matt and then John. Cody, tell us, you say you live in the neighborhood. What'd you see, and how are you doing?
I'm doing all right, but I got out of my house just in time. I made it to a neighbor's cellar just in time, and when I was down in the cellar, I could feel the ground shaking. I heard glass breaking, everything. I mean, you could only imagine. And as I came out of the cellar, I was one of the first people in the neighborhood to witness all the devastation, and it pretty much wiped out my entire neighborhood, 95% to say the least. On my street, I am one of the 5 houses that's standing on my actual neighborhood street. The rest of the houses on my street are leveled.
Where are you now?
I am in Edmond, staying at my girlfriend's house. We're going to be out of power for weeks, and they've got it pretty much quarantined. Every street, they're not letting you in. You got to have an ID to prove that you live there, and they're trying to keep as many people out as possible.
Obviously, they're trying to find survivors and want to stop looters.
Yeah.
Wow, just amazing. What do you make of Senator Sheldon Whitehouse blaming, if you really listen to that, he blames Oklahomans. He goes, these conservative Midwestern states, that won't pass carbon taxes, basically, you're causing it and you're hurting his state with flooding. So not paying Al Gore and the globalist money, he's basically saying it's your fault, buddy.
Yeah, it's unreal how someone can make such a tragedy like this, to say something like that in a time of need when people are obviously in the situation that they're in. But, unfortunately, I haven't had a lot of time to check out the news due to my house being that close to the devastation. I haven't even got to watch the news yet. I got into my girlfriend's house so late last night from all the detours and all the police telling me which way to turn and which way to go and how to get out of there. And I'm just now turned on the news, and what you just told me, I hate to sound ignorant, but I haven't even heard anything about it. I'm kind of new to the news as of this morning. Yesterday, I didn't get to see any of it.
Absolutely. Well, Cody, we're glad you survived. Anything else?
No, thank you for having me on, and just keep praying for us. It's pretty bad down here.
Absolutely. God bless you. Pray for everybody there and everybody else who's under environmental catastrophe, which is, again, part of living on this planet. This is not a stable planet. We're a planet going through space. I think they say 20-something thousand miles an hour. Matt, your mother, you say, was in the school and survived. Praise God for that. Tell us what happened.
She was in the school. She got a call from my dad that the tornado was heading that way. They probably had about 7 or 8 minutes to get ready, and they took shelter in the hallway. Her, 2 other teachers. There was probably 20 students or more. And she said something at the last second, told them. She said, I don't remember who said it or what, but somebody said, we need to get in the bathroom. They went in the bathroom, and they pretty much were laying on top of these students. And my mother had just read a book about a child who had passed away from a family that didn't really believe in anything in this life. And this child came back from death and said, Dad, I met Jesus, and Jesus loves the little children. And his son was like, yeah, I understand, yeah. My mom was laying over these kids and just saying, Jesus loves these children, over and over. They had their backpacks on top of their heads, had the teachers on top of them, and my mom was watching as the beams above them were bending and the rebar was bending down.
Hold on, sir. We got Daniel Estlin coming up, but he'll understand holding a few minutes so you can tell your story. This is too important. Amazing. Calling us from Tennessee. His mother was in the suburb, in the school that got hit outside Oklahoma City. We'll finish this story straight ahead and get into Bilderberg breaking news. Our viewers have demanded it, so now you're gonna get it. More pro-Second Amendment gun shows in the month of June.
What we've learned is you cannot hide behind an I-beam when there's a 50 cal present.
Brothers in Arms, 50 cal ammo review, and more. Coming in the month of June to the InfoWar. Obviously, a suburb of Oklahoma was hit by a large tornado that has killed more than 20 people and injured hundreds. And the Democratic Party is saying it is the fault of conservatives, that God doesn't like us. That's the Daily Show creator. And Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, we played it last hour, says that people in the Midwest are also attacking the East Coast because we won't pay carbon taxes, and that he's actually mad at them. Just like gun owners killed the kids at Sandy Hook, it's your fault, even though violent crimes dropped 49% in the last 20 years, new Justice Department numbers. And we actually have lowered the crime rate, but it doesn't matter. It says, so you may have a question for me, White House said. Why do you care? Why do you, Sheldon, Democrat of Rhode Island, care? Republicans run off the climate cliff, a bunch of proverbial lemmings, and disgrace ourselves. And then he goes into talking about the tornadoes, and he goes on to talk about the fires, and he goes on to talk about when cyclones tear up Oklahoma and hurricanes swamp Alabama and wildfires scorch Texas, you come to us, the rest of the country, for billions of dollars to recover. And the damage that your polluters and deniers are doing doesn't just hit Oklahoma and Alabama and Texas. I mean, talk about a false flag, ladies and gentlemen. They are blaming us for tornadoes when I have USA Today from May 10th, 11 days ago. Quiet tornado season forecast. Tornado activity hit 60-year low since 1954, the least amount of tornadoes and least amount of deaths in the last 12 months. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, people had storm shelters 200 years ago. The first people that moved into the Midwest began building dugouts, cellars from the tornadoes. It is not carbon dioxide doing it. Okay, let's go to John in Oklahoma, then Caroline and Noah. John, I appreciate you holding. Was reportedly a witness to some of this, or has some comments. We had some amazing calls earlier of a man whose mother survived in the school with the children in the bathroom. John, what's your take on all this? And the Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse saying that it's conservative Midwesterners' fault that you didn't pay Al Gore money. I'm not kidding. That you brought this on yourself, and that how dare you need any federal aid now? I mean, and he'll get away with it. The media will go, oh, yes. Perhaps you should beat yourself with a bullwhip. Do you want to apologize to the Democratic senator for the tornado, sir?
Oh yes, yes. I'm terribly sorry that we caused this thing, but those were very charming remarks, and I enjoyed seeing those on the website this morning. But really, it suited me just fine for them to just keep all their money, keep all their Homeland Security people away from here, because we're Oklahomans. We can handle this. We've been through tornadoes many times before. We'll pull together.
You were formerly part of Texas. So I just want to say you're actually a Texan. We're annexing you. I'm sorry.
Well, I was actually born in the Great Republic of Texas, so but I transferred here years ago. But
I'm being sarcastic. Okies are great people. I don't know why there's always these stupid rivalries over football and stuff. Or in high school, we'd be at a bonfire or something. There'd be Okies, and let's just beat each other up because they're from Oklahoma. Just any excuse to get in a fight. But again, it really started dawning on me as I went to you, and I want to hear what you have to say about the tornado. We're glad you're okay. Think of how outrageous it is to say conservatives didn't believe in global warming, so now we don't want to give you money. It's your fault. I mean, what in the world? Normally, I don't want to use expletives, but this really deserves one. And he won't get in any trouble for it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, that's fine. Maybe they know something about the weather that we're just getting an inkling of. But regardless, again, they can keep their money. I'm really concerned about what they're going to do to use this crisis to promote their agenda. I've already seen the airspaces have been closed down. Are we going to get checkpoints? Are we going to get searched? How are they going to use this, and how can we watch out for that?
Well, listen, we have the article up there that they're saying, oh, this will make Obama's approval rating go up because he cares. He's showing compassion. And again, this 6th senator, they take our money, the feds do, and then send, depending on what program, 30 cents, 50 cents, it varies, between 30 and 55 cents, depending on the study. They send our money back, telling us how to spend it, and then lecture us. I mean, everything he said is so outrageous to an informed, involved person living in reality. But yeah, no, they've locked the whole place down. Look, I'd be fine if the state police locked it down, even the state guard by the governor, but Homeland Security's in there in charge. Just 10 years ago, Homeland Security 12 years ago didn't exist. And 20 years ago, you wouldn't have the feds there. Or if it got really bad, the president might tour it or something. Why are the feds running everything? Why are they federalizing the police locally? I mean, it's outrageous. And again, they'll use any excuse to do this. And because they're getting us ready, as Ron Paul and Jim Rogers say up on Infowars.com, to confiscate private bank accounts in America. And that's Ron Paul and Jim Rogers talking about that, folks. This is coming. That's a J.D. Hayes story, originally from naturalnews.com. What do you want to say about the tornado?
Well, again, it's a terrible thing. It's one of the worst tornadoes that's hit us. But if you look around at all the people here right now today, they're gathering things for all the people that were affected privately. Churches are banding together, forming prayer groups, gathering materials, gloves, boots, things that people might need, and the things will just appear. We don't need $80,000 cardboard trailers from FEMA. We don't need any pastures turned into trailer parks with those things. We just want to be left alone. We can fix this. We'll fix it.
Absolutely. Have you had a chance to survey any of the disaster with your own 2 eyeballs?
To be honest, I bugged out of town last night before it hit, and I didn't see any of it. I took the governor's advice to stay away. And
what time did it hit exactly?
I think it was about 5 o'clock. I think so. I was on the road when it hit, and I stopped at a little place outside of town where a bunch of other folks in the city had gathered, watching the TV.
Well, there's 2 things happening here. Used to, there weren't as many people. I mean, just 100 years ago, there was less than half the number. And so used to, this would have torn up some cow pasture, not a giant suburb of Oklahoma City. But at the same time, there's more people, so it's worse when it happens. But there are the Doppler radar. Imagine if people wouldn't have got the warning. In the old days, you couldn't run, so that's why everybody had to have a storm shelter. But I would imagine we're going to see a lot more storm shelters getting put in now.
Yeah, it was interesting to hear the statistics this morning on the how there are less tornadoes than there were before. I've lived here almost all my life, and that's over half a century, and I've never seen a tornado. When I was a kid, I'd jump in my Roadrunner and go chase them down and couldn't find them. So I've never even seen one, just the devastation after it's over. But we always picked up, everybody bands together, and we get it done.
What would you do without FEMA, though? I mean, it's the same thing of colon cancer's up. We should preemptively remove our colons. Retina cancer's up. Let's all remove our eyes. Prostate cancer's up. Let's all remove our prostate. Breast cancer's up. Let's all remove our breast. If you are predisposed for it, you're predisposed. People are always predisposed. Why is it getting worse now? You see, because of what they're putting in the vaccines and the food. So we should discuss why is the cancer getting worse, not, cut our body parts off. We should find the cause. And it's the same thing with this. There are more people out there. So even though tornadoes are down to a 60-year low, USA Today reports, still, when they do happen, you're going to have higher death counts because now we're 315 million people. God bless you, sir. Glad you're okay. Let's talk to Caroline in Oklahoma. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hello, Alex. I'm a grandmother of 4 beautiful little granddaughters.
Congratulations.
And I've been following you since you were a young man, when you started exposing us losing our national parks. And I just want to tell you, I'm really, really concerned that people are not keeping up and understanding about the technology that's over us to do with ARP and Skylar. And I firmly believe that this is orchestrated and purposeful, man-made, and we live right here on this New Madrid Fault. I'd like for you to talk about some of this sometimes. It's about the sinkhole, how that's enlarging, and that this will be a man-made thing when they do this New Madrid Fault. And so these are to do with the technology that's in control over us.
Well, ma'am, I had an Air Force whistleblower on yesterday, and I showed TV viewers. For radio listeners, I gave out headlines. Type in Bill Gates weather modification, geoengineering, London Guardian, AP, Reuters. They spend, Department of Energy, last time I checked, $5 billion a year in studying weather modification. See, under U.S. Code Title 50, Chapter 32, subsection 1528, paragraph B, it allows chemical, biological, radiological, or any other testing, even lethal, on citizens unsuspecting. The government claims it's allowed to kill us. Now, it in the main title, it says it's illegal, but then in the subtitle, it says, unless for law enforcement or research purposes. And, I mean, I've gotten the heads of major weather modification companies on that do it for ski resorts and insurance companies, because see, ski resorts will go out, and I'm going to hold you over, man, because this is important. I'm going to put you on hold and come back and talk to you more, but I want to get this out. Ski resorts, this is on record, by the way, just the public doesn't know about it. It's like if you never saw the Atlantic Ocean, you wouldn't know it's there. Ski resorts go get insurance, and if they don't get snow, they get enough money to survive. Well, the insurance companies aren't going to pay out on that. So they go, there's more than 100 of these companies I know of. Some of them have got like 30, 40, 50 aircraft, and they hire them. Canada does it too. Europe does it. Switzerland does it. And they fly in and create clouds in the right weather to make it snow. So they don't have to pay out on the insurance. And sometimes ski resorts do it themselves. So that's what's going on. And that's just commercial. Of course, there's weather weapon stuff going on. ProPure is introducing Pro One. All of your filtration in one system, portable, on the go. This is the Pro One by ProPure. You wanted it, you got it. No more do you have 2 or 3 filters to just reduce sodium fluoride. You have a system that cuts out the sodium fluoride and up to 95% of hydrofluorosilicic acid. Advanced manufacturing technology combines silver-impregnated white ceramic with new Aquamedics advanced media for removal of fluoride and other heavy metals, all in one filter element. It cuts out the acid derivative of fluoride. It is the only one that does it, And out of the gates, we have it discounted at 10% off with promo code WATER. This is the only system that in one unit helps reduce or remove pesticides, herbicides, chloramines, ammonia, and chlorine, hydrofluorosilicic acid, the most common form of fluoride not covered by other fluoride filter brands, and sodium hexafluorosilicate. This is a revolution against the tyrants. They love putting the toxic acid base of fluoride into your water. They love the fact that it's an adjuvant supercharging the trace Prozac in the water and the hormones and the other chemicals. By cutting out fluoride, you cut out the turbocharger in all the poison being artificially introduced into your body. This is what I use. It's a win-win. You get a high-quality product at the lowest price. You support the InfoWar. Get your Pro Pure with the new Pro One filter today at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling 888-253-3139. Let's go ahead and talk to Caroline. Caroline, thanks for holding. You were making your point about weather weapons. Yes, they are doing everything they can from the scientists we've talked to in the weather programs and weather men and women meteorologists we've had on. And most of what they said 10 years ago, 15 years ago has now been confirmed. They're trying to ruin the U.S. croplands with the barium salt aluminum dioxide and attacking and trying to destroy us. Just like they're trying to ship our jobs to Europe and to China and shutting down everything. And we're under war. This is a globalist incremental attack. And we're under full-spectrum war attack. I mean, look, we're dying. Cancer rates are exploding. And so, yes, ma'am, that's exactly what's going on. And there are natural tornadoes. I think the tornadoes going down from the meteorologists I've talked to show that the atmosphere is thinner. It's thick atmosphere, hot and cold coming together, to leave it simple, that causes these tornadoes. And, you know, tornadoes are way down. Of course, they lie and say they're way up to try to get carbon taxes. But I don't know if this was a weather weapon or not, but they can, with the right weather conditions, they can create and steer groups of tornadoes. The question is, were helicopters, because they use those up close, and small fixed-wing aircraft seen in and around the weather patterns? Like did people 50 miles out as these storm systems, did they see aircraft in and around the clouds spraying and doing things? If you saw that, you better bet your bottom dollar they did this. But who knows if they did? You know, that's the thing. We don't know. Anything else, Caroline?
Well, we live on the New Madron Fault, and we can get earthquake insurance here for our properties and our homes. And I find in trying to awaken people, the hard part is they use logic against insanity. And you have to break through that and get them to awaken that you can't, you're logical, but they're insane who's doing these things.
Well, ma'am, their subconscious mind is scared. They've been programmed at multi-levels publicly into a mass Stockholm syndrome. Yes. And I mean, they're like, it's such a big problem. They're spraying, they're changing the atmosphere. What? They can't even balance their checkbook. It's done by design. They're on the edge, trying to live in this modern world, pay all the taxes, do all the regulations, dodge the police. I mean, I see cops giving poor people tickets for no reason. It makes me physically want to throw up. You know, as much as I don't still like it, I see some rich guy getting a ticket I don't seem to mind. You know, if I get a ticket, even if it's wrong, I don't get upset because I've got a little bit of money. I see how they target the poor, these poor truck drivers that I know are barely making it because I know them, they're going out of business, harassed every day on the roads for a little bit of dust on their bumper, but the illegal aliens are above the law. And again, I'm not against the illegal aliens. They're being used from an already collapsed society to collapse this one. You see, I mean, if I could get to and wake up the 30 million illegals, I'd probably want them here. But I can't, so we've already lost. And they've lost, too. I mean, it's like, but everybody will feel like they're winning. Do you see what I'm saying? It's just incredible how they get away with all of this. And I hear you. God bless you, ma'am. Let's talk to Noah in Oklahoma. Lockdown in Moore. Are you there in the suburb of Moore, Noah?
I am south of Moore. And what I wanted to make some observations was when they put the city of Moore on lockdown. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, just making sure. I'm sorry.
No, brother. Go ahead.
Okay. When they put Moore on lockdown, they were not even letting homeowners in, which I didn't understand. I mean, if it was me and I had my family trapped in a cellar or something, and I knew where they were, they should allow the man of the home or whoever that wants to go in there to go in there. But they also did some interesting things. They held students at a high school. I think it was the Moore High. That was not even hit. I don't believe it was even hit, but they held the students there. They wouldn't let the parents come get them for till 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
No, they always do that. That's a federal directive to set the precedent that parents are not the parents. You've heard MSNBC. That is done everywhere.
Yes,
and you know, again, what if your grandmother was sick? What if something was happening? What if you had to go to a funeral? I mean, and see that they're doing drills all over the country where parents attack the school trying to get their kids because under a big attack, they've said you're not getting your kids back. They're going to make you come turn your guns in. And the cops are like, that'll never happen. Really? That I told people about this plan to start keeping the kids 15 years ago from my federal sources.
Yes, sir. Well, the guy that called in earlier, I don't know if he really was from Oklahoma. He said it hit at 5 o'clock. No, it hit at, it was a 20-mile long tornado. I was here, and it was 20 miles long, and it tracked from 2 p.m. till about 3:30, 4 o'clock, and it dissipated, but it was a short-lived
Sure,
tornado.
4 o'clock's what I thought was the end of it, yeah. Well, you know, I don't think that guy was, one guy was saying he was calling in from Tennessee. His mom was in the school in Moore.
What it was. Well, it's interesting that that when they put the lockdown on, they did have checkpoints. I mean, it's absolute checkpoint city, and they've got the what I don't get is why our globalist governor Mary Fallon just so willingly reaches out to, you know, oh, just bring us the FEMA money. We want it all.
Well, he'd be demonized if he didn't, but here's the deal. If it's anything like Katrina or Sandy, they'll go loot your houses. The police will. And I know Oklahoma's not Louisiana. Nothing against Louisiana, but the police are famous there, you know, robbing banks, you name it, liquor stores. You know, who says the government can be trusted to only be in that area?
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
My judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com.
You know, some of the best radio, the most informative stuff's behind the scenes here. We were all talking about Louisiana, which are really nice people, but the government is just famously corrupt. It's kind of like Chicago on the Gulf of Mexico. And they will do stuff like put speeding signs behind a tree where the interstate goes from 70 to 50 and then make you pay on the spot. No judge, no jury, you just pay them. It's like Mexico. And then in Texas, they've had cops in the little corrupt towns. It's been a big national story, you've all heard of it, where they'll pull people over and go, let me see your wallet. That's $500. I believe there's drugs. And they go, I'm going to take your car if you don't give me this $500. And if you give them any trouble, they just take it all. Like that happened in New Mexico, and a guy was in jail for 2.5 years. No judge, no jury. Family thought he'd been kidnapped and dead. And they don't even know why he was in there. He just argued with them. So we're going to lock you up. And the guy lost almost all his weight. They described him as like Robinson Crusoe. They just shove a little bit of food every once in a while under the thing. We ain't seen him in a couple of years. And you know how it is. Yeah, well, but you being not respectful to the officer. And they've had famous cases where one woman fought because she was the heir to some billionaire. It was like 10 years ago. She had like $4,000 in her purse. And they took that and took her Cadillac and took her to jail. No judge, no jury, no charges. We're going to shake you down till you agree to all this. We're testing the money. And if we find any cocaine on it, which, you know, all money's got drug residue on it because it's all in there together and it's in and around drugs and people snort it using the money. I go, that's probable cause. Caught you with the cocaine. Meanwhile, the government ships the cocaine in, launders the money, brings the opium in, grows the opium, helps run the snuff films of little kids. You know, the dark side of government, the government at the top of the pyramid. And I'm just done with it all. I'm done with the TSA. Go look for bin Laden inside your booty. Let me look inside your... I mean, I am done, okay? I'm done. Like, everybody knows North Korean cops are bad. Everybody knows Mexican cops are bad. Our government's bad. Does that mean everybody in it's bad? No. But the government's rotten. It's done. It's over. And we've got to recognize that and then say, hey, what's good? Let's support what's good to get our government back. But if you don't recognize that, you can't support the good people in government who are being lobbied by corrupt foreign corporations to pass more laws, to put more people in the private prisons, and then in the small town they go, all business we got's the Dairy Queen, Walmart, and the prison. You don't want to shut down the prison. You'll have jail guards whose son is in the jail for a DWI. Now they're going to raise it federally to 0, or lower it to 0.5, where if you smell a beer, you're drinking and driving. Because it's not about stopping reckless drivers. It's about putting you under the jail, because that's the new slavery. And I don't care what accent you speak from, whether you're from Mexico or whether you're from Texas or whether you're from New York. It's all the same. A thug in New York might talk like this. All right, don't give me no trouble, Mac, or I'll throw you in jail. Somebody from Texas might be like, yeah, you can give me the cash or I'll take you in. But it's still the same spirit. A Japanese tyrant might be like, but they still have the same spirit. You want to hear me speak French? My wife has a degree in French. I torture her with it. J'attends les bourses de I'm sorry. We used to have these French neighbors in Dallas, and one of them would get drunk. He was a furniture guy. He'd yell at his wife. They'd be like, play, pull, blah, 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 blah. More calls coming up. I'm going into overdrive.
Hi, this is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, with some news about some new additions to the InfoWars store. You know, good health is freedom. When you're healthy, you're not a slave to the medical system. Everything works well, your brain, your body, even your spirit. You're a healthier person. And to help support that great health, Alex has asked me to source the cleanest, most potent superfoods and other similar products in the world and bring them to the InfoWars store. So we've done that. The brand name is Health Ranger Select, and we're starting out right now with these 3 products. We've got Himalayan salt from Pakistan, formed hundreds of thousands of years ago in an ancient seabed long before modern pollution destroyed much of the oceans. This is loaded with trace minerals, and it's pristine, true, full-spectrum sea salt. We've also got Natural Attitude Turmeric. It's an extract of turmeric, very potent, tastes great, alcohol-free. This is from organic turmeric out of India. And we've also got Clean Chlorella. And we sourced and did research on all the chlorella sources around the world, and we found the 2 cleanest sources that have the lowest levels of any kind of contaminants. In fact, this one is virtually free of all metals and all contaminants. It's called Clean Chlorella, and it's about 2/3 protein, and it's got chlorophyll and chlorella growth factor in it. Check it out online. It's an amazing superfood that athletes are using and people are using to help support healthy lifestyles. It's fantastic. This is all packaged in our certified organic facility here in Central Texas. There we follow USDA certified standards, and we're audited every year by the USDA certifier to make sure that we comply with all organic standards. That, combined with the fact that we only source super clean superfoods and raw materials from around the world, means that our products represent the cleanest and most potent products that you'll find across the natural products industry. Check all of these out under the Health Ranger Select brand name at the InfoWars store, InfoWarsStore.com. And we'll be bringing you more of these in the near future. Thanks and take care.
El mucho grandies 1519. I'm not doing it very well. I have to actually listen to some Mexican radio to be able to do it. Es superior Toyota McDonald's. Is it like add some English in there? I can't even do it. I can do it better if I hear it. It's been a long time since I made fun of all sorts of different voices and stuff, so I need to Hey, if I can do rednecks and Yankees, folks, I should be able to do everything else. They call that politically incorrect. Political incorrectness is putting cancer viruses in your vaccines. Political incorrectness is the creator of some of the top shows on Comedy Central making fun of the people that were killed in her tweet, and nobody seems to care. Let's go ahead and talk to Cliff. Cliff in Toronto. No, you want to talk about the tornado. I'm sorry, I was having a slip because there's some French up in Toronto, and I thought I could speak to you in French. Did you like my French?
It was superb, actually. I highly enjoyed it.
That's how you talk to a French lady. You go, Zazie montroyen, glamoto boulotoyen, zi oui oui, j'attends. I know that word. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I just had a couple of points I was going to make. I'm just here in north central Oklahoma City, so I was, not near the tornado, but I do have a cousin whose house got damaged. She lived down in Moore. And, I think it's, well, it's not hilarious, but it's absurd and it's hypocritical when you hear like the Comedy Central lady or, the senator, that was talking about global warming. They're opportunistically pouncing upon this, for the little political agenda.
I agree, but they're not just saying global warming did this, give us carbon taxes. They're saying, you people in Oklahoma, because Senator Inhofe's from there, the main guy that killed it, you didn't let us have these, so it's your fault, and we don't want to help you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd just love to know. I mean, is that LA Times cartoonist, is he going to do a little sewer rat cartoon about them, taking advantage of this tragedy? I mean, is that little Weasley guy that was going after Badandi? Is he going to go and do a little profanity-laced tirade against, the Comedy Central lady if he runs into her down the street,
No. He feels like he's part of the establishment. All these people, because they agree with it, they suddenly think they're part of it. When the New World Order is coming down on them just as hard, they make the coward's decision to cuddle up to it. It'd be like if Godzilla was stomping towards you, crush, and you walked up and went, "Mommy," they're delusional. I'm telling you, it's mass Stockholm syndrome. And they're given talking points and they're told, you're smart because you think there's no tyranny and the government is there to wipe your behind.
And just to make a comment as far as people that are suspecting, HAARP may have been used and stuff like that, and I'm not saying it wasn't, I'm not saying it was, but Moore, Oklahoma, I don't know if it's just like cursed Indian land or something, but I mean, it seems to get the brunt of tornadoes all the time. I've lived in Oklahoma most of my life. So
well, there's magnetic stuff. It's on a fault line. There's magnetic stuff that comes out of the air. That's why right before earthquakes, for thousands of years, but it's been documented, you'll see a lightning storms and weird green light because there's major magnetic stuff going on, not just in the sky with the lightning, but in the ground. Most lightning actually comes out of the earth. That's science stuff. That sounds gay. To quote Idiocracy. By the way, that interview is coming up Thursday. I haven't even plugged that really this week with Mike Judge. Can we come out with the Mike Judge thing? Thanks. All right, good points there, Cliff. Thanks for holding with us. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.